Hi, my name is Heather Smith, and I'm talking with accountants and bookkeepers from all over the world about how they've defined their receipt bank preference settings. I'm asking them their thought process behind the preference settings they chose. In this video, I'm speaking with Shelley, a CPA from Canada.
Thank you so much, Shelley, for being involved in this project.
Oh, you're welcome, Heather.
Can you let our viewers know where you're from?
I am from the sunny Kelowna, city of Kelowna in British Columbia, Canada.
Fantastic. And how many clients have you got using Receipt Bank at the moment?
Right now, I've got 3 of them on there, and I've got another couple who are just lined up waiting for me to teach them how to use Receipt Bank, and then they'll be up and running on it as well.
Excellent, excellent. And are you enjoying using Receipt Bank with your clients?
I am, yes, and my staff enjoy it even more.
Fantastic. Why are they enjoying it? Are there any specific reasons?
Well, it definitely gets rid of the sitting down and just pounding in the data entry, which nobody enjoys. And so anything that can make data entry less is a win in an accounting firm. And so that's when I was trying to decide what my firm wanted to look like and to make sure that it was using as much advantage of the technology that's out there as possible. I came across Receipt Bank and I went, you know what, this is really cool, and it makes a lot of work disappear, and it gets rid of a lot of things like data entry errors, and it makes the whole practice a lot more efficient.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. That's sensational. Thank you for sharing that with us. So what we're doing today is we're having a look at the way you've actually set up your preferences within Receipt Bank. So we're looking here and we've clicked in on General and we're looking at System Settings. So if we look through your payment status, let's work through what you've done here. So for payment status, for receipts, when you process them, you are processing them as paid.
Right.
For invoices, not paid unless a payment method has been applied, and credit notes not paid.
Right.
Yeah. Any comments on that?
I've got pretty much the plain Jane version of Receipt Bank, sort of the things that they've suggested that you use. A lot of it is common sense. So say, take for instance, receipts. By the time a client gets a receipt, they've already paid it some way, whether it's cash or check or a credit card, debit, something, they've already paid it. And so we thought, rather than sort of having it go through a number of different stages where you have to approve it and then process it, just head it straight to paid. And if you can isolate how it was paid, usually it's right on the receipt saying that it was paid by a credit card or a debit card. It cuts out a lot of that typing and the approval process because it's already done, it's already passed, it's history.
Absolutely. Thank you. So then the next section down is due dates for invoices, and configure the settings for assigning the due dates for your invoices default to a number of days after the invoice date, and then for how many days you've selected one.
Right.
What was your thought process on that?
Well, I still have the whole concept of cloud accounting is still a little bit new in Canada. And so I'm still dealing with a lot of clients where they bring their stuff in well after the fact. And so by the time we're entering it into either Receipt Bank or just entering it into your accounting program, it's done, it's finished. So it's not like you can set it up like a payable. Once we get them caught up and used to the fact that they can go ahead, set this up and use it as real-time data and use it as the payables and the receivables, and then get the data, the business data out of that. We'll probably change that to sort of the average of whatever their invoicing tends to be. But right now, because everything is all historical, we just say, you know what, if we're entering it now, it was probably paid months ago.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Sort of working through the different dilemmas of the different clients. So you getting them on board and getting them up to date and setting up as that preference. That makes a lot of sense. Yes, and I see that wave happening here in that here in Australia. I now have a lot of clients actually behaving like accruals clients, which is they're entering their supplier invoices and they're waiting to have them paid, which was something that was never happening before.
Oh, exactly. And with today's cloud accounting packages, you can do that. And that's that real-time data.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does. You can see that you can explain it to them. It's giving them cash flow management, some real cash flow management, which we didn't really have access to before.
Exactly.
So the next section down is net amounts. Choose whether to show the net amounts on the downloadable CSVs. Show net amount off. Do you know what that is?
Well, that's if you wanted to download something from Receipt Bank and you didn't have a accounting program that synced with it. We use Xero and or QuickBooks Online, and so both of the programs sync well with Receipt Bank. So we just turned that off because we don't ever foresee having to use that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. No, it is interesting because you can actually use Receipt Bank on its own, and then at the end of the year pump all the information into a solution. Not that I'm recommending that, but I know some clients who have done that.
Exactly.
So then we'll jump down to the next section, which is categorization. So configure the settings that determine how Receipt Bank categorizes your items. So you've got auto categorization on, including new suppliers on. Category display code and name, category to sort code. Now, what was your thought process behind that?
This we just left with what Receipt Bank suggested that you leave on. My take on it is that when Receipt Bank comes across an invoice and it doesn't quite know what to do with it, it will make suggestions. And that's kind of where my take on this area. We haven't really tinkered with it at all. We just left it as to what Receipt Bank suggested that the default settings would be.
Fair enough. And then moving to the final section here, we have archiving. So your items will be moved to the archive after these actions have happened. Published, yes. Exported to CSV, no. Added to an ER.
I have no
expense
idea
report. That will be expense report. Report. It's not George Clooney in the emergency room. I'm pretty sure it's an expense report. And exported to PDF. Okay, so it's moving to published once something has. It's moving to archive once something's been published, or added to an expense report, which I guess makes sense. And you've got the other option there, exported to CSV, if that was an option within your practice, but that's not something that you're doing. So yeah, that makes sense there.
Yeah.
Do you have any further?
We just left them at the defaults that Receipt Bank suggested there as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you. Now, the next one I'd just like to ask to look at is if you click on I think it's integration you're on at the moment. Click on integration, see if we've done that one.
Yeah.
Excellent. So let's see what you've got set up here. So general settings, it looks like you're mainly integrated with Xero.
Yes.
And the current integration's happening there. Publish multiple currencies, and you've got that set on. Default published destination purchases. Publish items to purchases as awaiting payment. Publish expense reports to purchases as awaiting payments. So what was your thought process on this?
With this particular client, they do have some multi-currency expenses. And so because they've got enough to make it worthwhile, we've given them the multi-currency version of Xero. So that's why that is on right now. If we had clients who were just using Canadian currency, we would leave that off.
Yes.
For the rest of them, we have any of the items going to purchases just so that we can track it through accounts payable, basically. And then because we have clients who are still kind of learning how to use Receipt Bank, because some of them want to either help us code, or I've got staff who are new, who are just learning the process. So we've put it to awaiting payment, so that it gives that extra step of going, okay, am I sure that this is really where I want to put this particular expense or item? And once everybody kind of gets up to speed, then I would say that for a lot of this, we can just have it go straight through to, because you've got a couple of different options here.
Yeah.
We would probably bump it right up to paid where possible, which is sort of the least human interference. But I want to make sure that my team is comfortable doing that, and that we've got clients who have enough knowledge so that when it goes and it automatically gets posted, we're not undoing their helpfulness.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent. And then if we jump to the next section, we have tax settings, and it says publish tax data to purchasers, allow Receipt Bank to decide with exception. Yeah, excellent. So allow Receipt Bank to decide with exceptions, and then it's got the option use tax list and use supply, which is on, and use supplier rates, tax rates, which is off. So what was your thought process behind this?
Well, this kind of ties into that top section where we have staff or clients who are still learning the process. So as a general rule, we wanted Receipt Bank to kind of control the process, whether it was GST or PST, or just what the taxes were. And then we've got Receipt Bank set up so that hopefully it directs it and splits it up properly, and then it goes into zero hopefully properly. Again, this was one of the suggestions that Receipt Bank had, was to leave it with this particular setting, just because of our particular split up with different provincial taxes and then the federal GST tax.
Yeah, it can get really complicated with that double layer of taxes happening in Canada.
Exactly.
Now, it is interesting, because what I'm hearing from you is that a lot of the processing of the transactions for you is actually happening in Receipt Bank. And you may even have staff that actually never jump into the accounting solution because they're just spending their time in Receipt Bank getting it through.
For a lot of it, yes. And the nice thing is we can set up within Receipt Bank the different rules. And so hopefully once Receipt Bank has gone through different vendors and suppliers a couple of times, it's learned it's anticipated how you want to split it up. And then it's a simple button to press it saying, yep, export it to zero. And then once it's in zero, it's just a click to approve it, and then you're done.
Fantastic. And if we scroll down a bit there, the next section down is automatic publishing, which we've got switched off totally. So automatic publish all items with exceptions there, but you've got that switched off. So I'm guessing that was perhaps a default setting from Receipt Bank again.
It is, and it kind of ties into the fact that we've got people who are still learning the system. And so if you automatically publish and they haven't got it coded properly, it takes a lot more time to fix it, and rather than just to approve it sort of at a couple of steps along the way. So for right now, I have it turned off. Once both the team and the clients kind of get used to it, and we can kind of trust that it's going to the right place in the right splits all the time, then that's something that can be turned on to make it a little more efficient.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that with us. Can I just ask you to share one last section with us? If we click on My Details, the third one there, but let's just have a look at the notification email settings and what you've got set up here. So you've got notification email settings. Which emails would you like to receive and how often? And you've asked for a daily frequency with acknowledgement, account, processing and publishing on. Would you like to explain your thought process behind that?
Well, part of it is just monitoring what the team's doing. And so that email address that's there, it sends an email to me as the practitioner, so that I know you know, how fast things are moving through my office. So even though I haven't had a chance to go and talk to my team, I can get an email every morning going, oh, so-and-so worked on this, and somebody, you know, this person worked on that. And it gives me an idea of how fast the information is flowing through my office, just so I know whether, you know, you have ideas of things are moving so quickly through the office, and this is just a confirmation.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. We really appreciate it, Shelley.
You're welcome, Heather. Hopefully it's helpful.